Hello guys, this is Warrior here, and we are back with something a little special where we're going to be going through the new release that I think released 5 days ago when this video will actually go live, or six, yeah, 6 days. I've been a little busy and wasn't able to get this video out, but this is the latest gameplay footage from Total War Warhammer 3. I don't think it'll be the last, but we're closing in on a month before the game is supposed to be released, so it may be the last. They may release something else, maybe a hint of what the other legendary lore will be. I don't know, so let's get on.
For centuries, the Great Bastion has stood firm. Through sacrifice and stone-focused determination, the Celestial Dragon Emperor and his children have staved off corruption time and time again. In the northern province,
So essentially, this is just the Great Wall of China, their version of it, in a sense.
Miao
And hold up, let me get out of this right here and turn that down just a little bit. There we go.
Ying, the Storm Dragon, contends with the ever-looming threat of invasion, and worse, traitors amongst her own subjects. The Great Bastion cannot abide.
I want to pause it right here. Those looked like a pretty interesting unit. That's not the
A
crossbows.
fractured defender, so our first
Is that the crossbows? Those are the crossbows. So that's what the crossbow icon's going to be. That's just generic spearmen. Those are your more elite troops, and that is your anti-large variant. I think of these two guys right here. Anti-infantry, anti-large. So basically this is going to be like another human faction in troop size, and then you have airships, some light cavalry, and some light archers against a pretty weak.
first task is to consolidate Gunpowder Road. Some quick flanking puts us at an immediate advantage and sandwiches the rebels between our cavalry and the bulk of our forces. Thanks to our sky junk and superior ranged capability.
So I know he's talking about superior range capabilities, but really the reason he won this battle is because he completely outnumbered his foe and could outmaneuver them. Not he had superior range, but anyways.
The rebels are easily dispatched and subsequently executed.
The defense effort has need.
The only way through the bastion is 3 key gates.
So this is just like the high elf gates that you have. That's where they get them from. If you played the High Elves, you have the gates around Ulthron that protect Ulthron from the north, the west, and the east, and the southern is kind of the port city of Lothorn, I think, if I remember correctly. And now they have some different bonuses and stuff like that, or the Imperial forts that help guard the passes into the into the Empire, etc. It's the exact same things except for it's in the east, essentially.
When chaos invasions come, it's these locations that take the brunt of the attacks. We'll need to secure Snakegate and ensure our allies are strong enough to shoulder their own burdens. But first, we'll be taking care of the rest of the rebels.
Hold up a second. There's something that I want to see there real quick that popped up just for a second. There it is. Peasant long spears, anti-large, 24 missile defense, not missile defense, melee defense, 20 melee attack, 30 speed. That's kind of bad speed-wise for a peasant unit with no armor. 15 armor, expendable charge. Oh, they got some interesting things right there. All right.
The Emperor's chosen daughter.
As we expand our settlements, we'll need to pay
All right, so this is your harmony mechanic that they've hinted at here in other blog posts whenever they were doing stuff about the oh, I'm blanking on this faction's name, but anyways, the Eastern faction that's going to be basically China is all it is. Cathy, there it is. I knew I'd remember it. Yin and Yang, you have certain benefits, and you want to keep it in harmony, absolute harmony, to get the best out of everything. Like if you get all the way up when are equal, you get +5 minus corruption to all provinces, ancestral warriors, 8 plus control. So you have a control mechanic like the um, Knights of Bretonia, that faction. So you don't exactly have public order, you have control. Okay.
Close attention to our harmony. We'll build a labor conscription bureau and a conscription office, both for the growth, control, and bonuses to our young. With Gunpowder Road returned to order and more potential rivals discovered in the west, we'll turn our focus to Snakegate and fortifying the Bastion. We'll begin by issuing the Storm Dragon's Edict commandment, lowering corruption, bolstering defense, and decreasing our enemy's movement range. Unfortunately, whilst we were distracted with internal affairs, a Chaos Warband entered Grand...
So if you see these little armies, and you're going to see it here in a minute, it looks like these Chaos armies just randomly spawn in the Chaos Waste, and they slowly build up over time and can attack these gates. And I'm assuming that's going to be across the entirety of the northern factions, is that whenever you're a faction that is close to the northern Chaos Waste, and maybe even the southern Chaos Waste, which is around the poles, you will have these random Chaos armies that will just sprout up and attack you, and then either keep pushing and growing or defeat it, I'm assuming.
Grand Cathy through the demolished Snakegate. We'll need to face them head on. Before more conflict is had, we'll want additional funds to maintain our growing army.
So this is a key mechanic of Cathy. So you see these caravans, and they all go here, and there's battles. A battle here, a battle there. You can push this way and get funds, or you can push this way, and there's two routes. And as you discover more lands, you can send the caravan and get more money. So like here, it's 1740, 1710. But in a minute, whenever he goes back to this, you'll see more money. And then there's something called Slanesh, not Slanesh, Zinch corruption, which I guess is a different type of corruption than regular chaos corruption.
Making use of the Ivory Road, we'll dispatch...
Okay, so you see he's dispatching the cargo's worth. So it's worth 1,000. And when it gets here, it could be worth as much as 3,000, 3,200, 3,340. And you kind of pick and choose. That looks like that almost looks like a dwarven emblem, doesn't it? That does look like a dwarven emblem down here. If you see it, the banner and everything. So there might be dwarves all the way over here, which I don't know where all the way over here is, because the map hasn't really been shown to us in its entirety. I mean, it has, but not where every faction is going to be. But dwarves all the way over here. See, there's their banner. That's a dwarven banner. Why are there... anyways.
Dispatch a caravan to trade with distant cultures.
See, look, he pans it over here, and this looks like either more humans or something. Maybe lizardmen? But that's definitely a dwarven banner.
Caravans come with plenty of risk, but the potential reward...
And then you see all the way down here, 5,200 and 4,000. So if they get all the way over here, you can make as much as 5,000 if the caravan reaches there.
Rewards are more than worth it. With our army bolstered and extra funds incoming, we'll assault the invaders, driving them away.
That is a spellcaster. So that's a spellcaster, and I think this is a spellcaster or a tank. And these are handgunners, essentially. Archers for firing over the top, handgunners, and those are crossbows.
We'll colonize Snakegate, ensuring that future invasions are not so easy. Here we turn Mia Ying to her true purpose, the unyielding protection of Grand Cathy.
And as you can see now that we've moved a little bit further, that's actually commanded by this Dragon's Crossroad, Fortress of Eyes. So essentially, your ally in the area, the other lords, is going to be over there to the east. And he's essentially, because this is north, south, west, east, and he's essentially going to be out there trying to, and it's in your best interest to hold these outer provinces, because it cuts down on the corruption, and I think it'll cut down on the ability of these rogue armies to spawn, I would assume.
To aid in our defense of the Bastion, we'll align the Wujing compass to match our current goals. Each of the 4 directions offer powerful incentives, but our army has suffered from recent conflicts. We'll turn the compass northwest to hasten their recovery. We'll also set the Western Great Bastion's commandment to the Bastion Restored for the added casualty replenishment rate.
Now, as you can tell, he's already made $4,800 in this campaign, and we are on turn 8. That's what turn we're on, 8. How is he bringing in that much money? Just curious. Sons of the Mountain. That is a ogre banner. You see that right there? That banner that we saw down there that I couldn't figure out what it was? That's an ogre banner. So there's dwarves and ogres in those mountains. Interesting.
Turmoil as our caravan is ambushed and held under threat of violence. We'll refuse to negotiate with ogres and order the caravan to protect itself.
Move in harmony, and we shall prevail! Harmonious rock! Minds as one!
Ogres may be a hardy enemy, but we've managed to cut the assaulting lord off from the bulk of his forces. Some focused pressure, and we soon have the upper hand. There remains an insidious enemy within the Bastion, one we weren't confident enough to confront until now. The foul architect of fate holds the terracotta graveyard, and whilst this threat remains, the Bastion is still weakened. We'll entrust Snakegate's defense to a reliable general and move south to exterminate the demon threat.
Master of Tempest. Might of Gyran.
On the settlement's bridge is where the majority of the fighting is to be had. We thwart attempts to flank us and soon overpower.
So, the Slaaneshi forces are going to rely heavily upon flanking and their missile units. That's what they're going to rely heavily on. And I think they have like a shield or something. You see that little armor cue? They have a shield and then a health bar. And if you see this, what he's clicking on, the Blue Horse of Sinninch, that is like utter garbage, really. But they do have this missile attack, and that's the only benefit I think they have.
The demons with superior melee power.
Minds as one. They will perish.
The forces of chaos fight to the last, but are broken against the might of the Storm Dragon. To maintain the security of Grand Cathy, we'll need a strong relationship with the Imperial Wardens, so we broker a deal. In exchange for the newly liberated graveyard, we demand a military alliance.
So this is something that's interesting. This is a very old mechanic that's been in Total War for a very long time, that they took out in Total War Rome 2. They took it out. And you know what that ability is? The ability to trade settlements. They took it out. For whatever reason, they took it out, and now they're bringing it back, and probably saying it's a new mechanic, when it's not. It's been in for a very long time. It's just been gone long enough that a lot of people aren't going to remember it, but I do.
In exchange for the newly liberated graveyard, we demand a military alliance. Our ambitions will see us take command of the entire Bastion, but for...
Okay, request army, set target, outpost, ally missions. Okay, so there's more to this. They've revamped the how you can at least defend these, and at the very most, how you can coordinate with your allies. That is pretty cool. I do like that.
For now, we'll lend our aid to Turtlegate with the construction of an outpost to bolster the gate's defenses. Something is brewing in the Chaos Wastes.
Alright, so if you see this, these are rogue armies. Doom, 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 doom. 1, 2, 3. That's a Chaos Beastman. That's just a generic Chaos uprising. And then over there to the north, Foundry of Bones is another Chaos army. You can't quite see it. But what's about to pop is the Heralds of Sinninch are going to pop. The Legendary Lord is about to pop right there.
All signs pointing towards an impending attack. We'll continue to monitor the situation and build our defenses in preparation.
I I will not tolerate sloth.
The Celestial Loyalists are under attack from within. An army of Slanesh's demons summoned by decadent cultists. Their settlement
So this is the act of cultists at work. They can summon demon armies to assist them and take over the settlement.
is besieged, so we commit ourselves to our allies' defense. With poor ranged capabilities and no opportunity to flank, Slanesh's demons are forced to attempt a
And like I said a very long time ago, demon factions are going to be very, very susceptible to ranged firepower. It's going to rip them to shreds. Even Nurgle is going to struggle because they're going to be a lot slower. Slaanesh is only going to succeed when it can attack and overwhelm you and outflank you. The problem is they don't have a lot of outflanking units to do that. I've looked at their roster. They don't. Nurgle doesn't. Khorne doesn't. They're all, if they don't beat you in the initial assault and you can weather them down with sustained range firepower, you're going to cut them to pieces.
full frontal assault to a disastrous outcome. Slanesh's forces are a trifling
That was interesting what just happened to that legendary lord.
thing this time, and they're easily dealt with. But whilst we were distracted, a Tzeentch host amassed outside of Snakegate. The Changer of Ways is making his move. The journey across Cathay is long, but we arrive in time to face the demons. Kairos Fateweaver marches on Snakegate, intent on breaching the Bastion and laying waste to Cathay.
So if you see this down in the bottom right-hand corner, 1 minute and 56 seconds, reinforcements, unless you are in the actual settlement, are actually on a timer now, so they don't just immediately come onto the battlefield, which is nice.
Cathay Beyond.
The ruinous powers knock upon our gates, but these guests are not welcome! Send them from our threshold with the steel in your hands and in your hearts!
I wonder if this is a quest battle of sorts with Slaanesh fighting this particular battle, and that's what she gives every single time she defends the Bastion. I wonder.
We arrange our defenses, focusing our ranged units on the walls and preparing our fallback points.
I do like this, though, the supply feature in building all these barricades and stuff like that. That was in Rome 2 and Total War Attila. They took it out and they brought it back. Anyways, don't get me started on stuff they're rebanding as stuff they're bringing in that's new. It's not new stuff. It's old mechanics from different games. It's new to this series, but not new to the Total War series.
Our hope is to end the battle at the outer wall, but we're ready to fight in the streets if we must.
For the Emperor! Execute them!
So Slaanesh is going to have to use its range firepower to its advantage, but it's not right now. And you see that is a shield because you see the ones that have depleted that blue. And I think the yellow is their missile. And the white is their fatigue, or either or, one of the two. So, yeah, the yellow is their missile. So they haven't used hardly any of their missile, but they've chewed through their shield.
Warrior crossbow!
Chi and Chi's spells bombard our defenders relentlessly, extracting a terrible toll. But despite
really.
Kairos Fateweaver's magical prowess, he cannot stand against the might of the Storm Dragon.
Oh, Cathay! Defenders of Cathay!
The invasion is repelled. The Great Bastion still stands, and the northern province's continued survival is ensured. For now. But where we set our eyes northward, we failed to monitor the situation to the west. Whilst our back was turned, invaders from the Mountains of Morn annihilated the
That is Mr. Goldtooth himself fighting another ogre. And then there's a few other ogre tribes wandering around. I wonder if you're going to have random ogre tribes spawning in the mountains.
Center Lords of Jin Shin. The dwindling taste of victory turns sour as Mia Ying realizes bitterly that her campaign to protect Cathay has only just begun.
So, some final thoughts to this. Um, I do like it. Do have some concerns, and oh, oh yeah, this date, the 17th day, second month, 22nd year, or whatever they did in reverse. All right, so I do like it, but I do have some concerns about some of the demonic factions, about how they're going to perform on the battlefield. Now, their campaign mechanics may make them very interesting, but as you could say, that they just kind of rip them apart. So until next time, this has been Warrior here. This may be my last battle, or not battle, video before the release of Total War Warhammer 3 on stuff like this. Hopefully it's not. If you do agree, please leave a like or a comment down in the comment section, and please let me know what you're most um, looking forward in Total War Warhammer 3 and what it seems like the first faction you're going to play as. Until next time, this has been Warrior here. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you in the next one.